Sometimes there weren't the boxes there to tick, maybe.
I think it's,
Would that
I
be
mean,
true?
it's obviously there's, you know, I can appreciate that it's not a fully trained medical person marking the sheets.
Sure.
And somebody, you know, somebody straight out of college or school or whatever would be given a number of plans, and maybe even the old American way where you have the sheet with the holes cut out and you pull it over the sheet, and however many boxes it goes left or it goes right or it goes in the bin. And I think the fact that MND isn't understood and isn't widely known, I think is a problem. I mean, I came across that with creditors and things. You phoning somebody about a credit card or in telling them that you're not working anymore, and you know, you say, well, I'm suffering from MND, and I used to say motor neurone disease, and people just carry on talking as if, oh yeah, you know, another one, you know, pleading sick. And I do think it's not very well known at all.
And just following that one through, Martin, where did you find your information, and where do you find your information about MND, and what sort of information do you need, or do you want?
The original information I got from the hospital. The hospital told me of the website, and they gave me a very good pack, which I still have at home. I must admit, I don't look at it a lot. I do tend to surf the net. I'll go through the official MND site. I was warned off other sites because there's a lot of, well, like most things, you go on the internet and most roads lead to eBay, and unfortunately even eBay don't have a cure for MND these days. So I would stick with the MND site, or usually the BBC site, maybe a trusted site that I thought would give some advice.
So you find the MND site useful? Is there anything that could be added, or is it giving you what you want?
I don't use it a great deal, but I do tend to find things when I need them. I think there is scope for improvement, but I think that would be maybe more a short series than an interview.
Okay, thanks. And just going back to the earlier question I asked you about your diagnosis, we've taken a journey through what's happened in relationship with different agencies. You did say there would be something different. What would change now, reflecting back onto your point where you were given that initial diagnosis? If you could change something significantly, what would that be?
I would like to have sought some maybe legal advice onto where I stood with me and my condition. I call it condition. Because I've lost my income. I have my benefits. My wife's still working. We have a mortgage. Trying to get the definition of MND. Some mortgage and credit companies and things, they'll turn on and accept it as a critical illness, but not a terminal illness. And there seems to be a big grey area on whether MND is critical or terminal. And in the early days, I had some upsetting conversations because somebody at the other end of the phone say, "Yeah, but are you going to die of this?" And I would think, yeah, I'm going to die with it. I may not die of it. Hopefully I may die of old age with it, God willing. But in people's lack of understanding as to what it is and the category that it falls in, let's say critical or terminal. And I think we could have saved my wife a lot of grief in the early stages if we could have had some help and guidance, you know, from the outset, and maybe somebody with a little bit more clout than just me and my wife, Joe Public, to take our story, our situation to these people, and you know.
That would almost be staged, wouldn't it? Because the very first time you hear the word MND and you're told you have it, you wouldn't be ready to take financial advice at that stage, would you? You wanted different things at different times.
That's right.
And so it's all using your milestones, I suppose.
That's right.
You'd measure down the milestones of what you wanted at a certain time rather than being everything,
Yeah.
which is not here what you're saying. It's specifically what you need at that time.
Yeah, that would be around about sort of the 18 months to 2 year
years.
mark,
Yes.
when we realised that, you know, this is what we needed
Mm-hmm.
to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
Initially, my wife just contacted people and said, look, this is our situation, we've lost my husband's income.
Mm-hmm.
And most people were very good about it
Mm-hmm.
and said, right, we'll contact you in 6 months or we'll contact you in 12 months.
Mm-hmm.
It's after that, when it starts getting deeper, when you get further into the bog and it starts to drag you down a bit further, when
Yeah.
1 year becomes 2 and 3 and so on.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when you could do with the help.
The analogy with the car again, isn't it? Stages, you need different things, different support. Well, thanks very much, Martin. I mean, watching this DVD now will be a number of professionals, and I suppose it's a good opportunity for you to say what you think, you know, you need on a daily basis. And what advice would you give the professionals, and I use the very wide term, who maybe will be watching this, and the way that they could support more appropriately people like you and your family? What would you want to say to them?
I would like them to be a bit more proactive. I think there's too much of it is put down to the individual and reacting, and obviously everybody reacts in a different way. I think if they could be more proactive, not necessarily invasive, but if people could constantly drop stuff through people's doors that they believe to be useful and meaningful, as opposed to getting a huge booklet and expecting you to wade through it and pick out a telephone number. And a number of times I did do this, and you would get the telephone number and you would be referred to another and then referred again, and each time you got the impression that nobody knew your condition, and you would eventually get sick and tired and put the phone down. I think all the help and all the aids and all the various courses and so on, I think should be posted to people on a regular basis, and people, you know, use this information or not, but at least post it to them, as opposed to sitting back and waiting to see if somebody will call and ask for help. I think you tend to get to the point whereby you are inundated with all kinds of societies, DLA, different abbreviations for different organisations, and in the early days you cannot take it in. What you were thinking is, will I see my children get married? Will I see my grandchildren? How am I covered for my insurance? You know, the mortgage. There's so many emotional things that are in the way of good common sense things like getting the social services, getting your name on various help groups and so on. And it's only later on that you get to see this. But I do still think that being self-employed, I think I may have been slipped through the net, like I said earlier. Other people may get what I haven't had. If they don't, I think they should. I think people should post and drop things to the door, and an occasional phone call to say, are you okay? You know, we're here if you need us.
Would it be, going through that, almost a guide or a key worker or someone who you could work with, who could take you through? Would that be of any value?
I think it would, in hindsight, because you tend to go to a hospital meeting, and even if you go as well prepared, and you don't always hit all your bullet points, and you come away missing something. And I think at times when in the comforts of your own home, you do tend to remember circumstances or such that you don't when you deliberately go to air all your grievances, if you like. I also think that that person would be able to hopefully create a bit of a bond and so you know you can open up a little bit, because again in the very early stages there's a whole bundle of things that you don't possibly want to speak of.
Well, thank you, Martin. It's been a privilege to talk to you, and thank you very much for your comments. Thank you.
Thank you.